In this Wrestle Talk news, Eric Bischoff reveals why he'll never be invited back to AEW, how Vince McMahon sees Austin Theory, Ollie's review of last night's Raw, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos, because following the latest WWE name change, with Tommaso Ciampa now just being called Ciampa, I'm also removing my first name. You may all just call me Quinnell now.
Support Wrestle Talk!
In the last couple of years, Eric Bischoff has made sporadic appearances for AEW, including moderating the Town Hall segment between Chris Jericho and MJF, moderating a debate between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy, moderating the press conference with the Inner Circle. Bischoff has only moderated Chris Jericho segments in AEW. Weird. During the earlier years of AEW, Tony Khan and Bischoff seemed to find some sort of kinship, being two guys who've been the creative heads of companies going against WWE. But that relationship started to turn sour in 2021, with Bischoff publicly making comments against AEW, telling Tony Khan to just shut up and wrestle and not call out WWE so much and be petty about it. A lesson I'm sure Bischoff himself learned from his hardworking put your head down and grind mentality that WCW was so well known for. Both Bischoff and Khan have since traded barbs in interviews and the like, and now in an interview on the MacMania podcast, Bischoff has revealed he'll never be invited back to AEW. I've been beating this drum, and this is one of the reasons why Tony probably thinks I am a pain in his ass at this point. I'll never get invited to another AEW event, which is okay. I'm a little sad about that, but I get it. I don't take it personally. But I've been saying for over a year now when it comes to AEW, and this is why I'm concerned about their dirt sheet booking approach. Booking for the internet, if you will, is that if you're not growing, you're dying. Expanding on his previous point he's made about comparing AEW to WWE consistently, Bischoff said, "I would venture to guess 99% of the people who talk about it on social media when they are constantly comparing ratings, or even statisticians that are cramming all this data in there and they're using that data to paint the picture they want the narratives to be. That was one of the things I called Tony Khan out in the first place. Stop comparing yourself to WWE. You're not competitive in any measurable way, but the more you try to convince people you are, the dumber you look because it's insulting." And speaking of insulting, during Ronda Rousey's absence from WWE from 2019 until earlier this year, she sure made some comments about WWE fans, didn't she? She went on hiatus from WWE as a heel, but her seemingly candid comments about her dislike of WWE fans hinted at her real thoughts on the situation. But apparently, not so, as according to Ronda herself on an appearance on the Wives of Wrestling podcast, it was all in character. "I left as a heel and was getting booed out of every stadium. I was like, okay, that's what I assumed everyone thought, and I was still a heel. And any interviews I gave at any time, I was talking on the fans, being in character for in case I came back. And that's what I assumed I would come back to." That makes sense, and that also explains why on her first promo back as a babyface on Raw, she also said she doesn't like the fans, with her reportedly being told backstage to lighten up and change her promo style. You see, all the pieces fit together. One of the brighter prospects in WWE's future is Theory, who, while still at the young age of 24, has had high-profile feuds, been Vince McMahon's protege on screen, had a WrestleMania match against Pat McAfee, taken a stunner from Stone Cold, and is now the US champion. And according to WrestleVotes on Twitter, Vince McMahon sees Theory as a big future star, saying, "Now that his push is in full effect, source states he anticipates bigger and bigger things for Theory. A person with direct knowledge," states Vince, "sees a young John Cena in Theory and will give the kid everything he needs to be successful." In a bit of solid heel work, Theory posted a video of him taunting a young John Cena fan from a live event and tagged Cena in the tweet, saying he was a better US champ than Cena, but Cena didn't bite, instead praising Theory's work. "Everyone understands that you have far more talent, strength, and gifts than I ever had. Don't apologize for that. Ever. An apology should come 20 years from now if you fail to provide the effort needed to turn your potential into your legacy. I hope that day never comes." And now, hot tag to Ollie.
Here at Wrestle Talk, we are super excited to announce our biggest offer ever! That's because for a limited time only, the digital edition of the critically acclaimed Wrestle Talk magazine now costs just £1. £1! That's a massive 80% saving on its normal sale price. Really? Are you guys crazy, I hear you say? At that price, maybe we are. Or maybe it's just because we think it's so good, once you've read a copy, you'll stay a reader of it 444 life. We're super proud of the Wrestle Talk magazine and truly believe that it has some of the very best long-form wrestling content available anywhere on the planet. So if you want to be that person who always knows that little bit more than most about the inner workings of the business, or to find out the real news behind the news, buy the Wrestle Talk magazine digital edition today for only £1. £1, or just £10 for a 1-year digital subscription. Plus, each month, digital readers receive their copy 1 full week before anyone else in the world. Visit WrestleShop.com right now to get your copy. WrestleTalk magazine. You can always spot a reader. Thanks for your support on Patreon. Arnie K, the K stands for the coolest dude ever. And oh hi, that Danish Mark. You too can get your own shout out on Patreon by going to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw. In about 5 minutes, the show opened from outer, 20 years in the making actually, celebrating 2 decades since Randy Orton's WWE debut. A legend who's become so respected, even Veer was out at ringside to watch on. It took him 6 months to show up, and now he's coming everywhere. The festivities were hosted by the other half of Orton's most recent and arguably best career incarnation, RK Bro's Matt Riddle, which then became definitively the best gimmick he's ever had, as RK Bro became a 3-man faction of Randy, Riddle, and Mustache. Orton cut a really good, genuine promo thanking the fans, Riddle for giving him the most fun of his career, which is to say, giving him cannabis. They even put over Mick Foley for first making him the legend killer. Nobody ever puts over Mick Foley. That's nice to hear. Riddle had one final surprise for Randy, his former legacy protege Cody Rhodes. This enraged Seth Rollins, who started negging Orton and Rhodes hard, which Ezekiel saw as the perfect time to introduce himself as one of the newest WWE superstars. Kevin Owens interrupted him, the Usos interrupted them, and before you know it, holla holla, Adam Pearce announced they'll all go one-on-one with The Undertaker. I mean, have a big 8-man tag main event. One of these men is not like the others. After a quick Kane cameo backstage, he's an actual politician. Bianca Belair then defended her Raw Women's Championship against Sonya Deville in her hometown once, twice, 3 times. Authority figure restart shenanigans. Sonya first lost via countout, then via DQ with a chair shot, but kept restarting the match under different rules. Once it was no DQ, Carmella and Zelina Vega came down to help her win, even though I'm like 80% certain they broke up the other week. How will Bianca overcome this? It's actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. She just hit a KOD to beat Sonya. Sonya then slapped both Vega and Carmella backstage for not helping her win. Veer squashed a local enhancement talent by clutching his opponent's cervix both inside and outside the ring. My mouth does not like saying those words in that order. It's time for Vince McMahon's favorite category on Pornhub, worked arm wrestling matches. This is not as visually exciting as you think, Vince. Bobby Lashley won via sweating, so Omos beat him up with the arm wrestling table afterwards and officially challenged him to a match at WrestleMania. Backlash. R-Truth is now trying to resolve the 24/7 title couple conflict by becoming a certified counselor, where he booked an intergender tag match of Dana Brooke and Reggie versus Tamina and Tozawa. Tozawa beat Reggie, then Dana ran out with the 24/7 title. Last week was fun, but I want this to stop now. Becky Lynch looked dejected walking out next, presumably for coming second in the Blade Runner cosplay competition she did right before coming out. She cut a typically excellent promo in content and delivery, saying how it's been 3 years since she was without a championship in WWE. She's hit rock bottom, or man slam, or manhandle slam bottom. But in a mid-promo hot tag to herself, she realized there's now only one way to go: up. She promised this would be the start of her epic comeback, that we'll have the privilege of watching, that she's ready for anything. There's Asuka. Now taking the tact of the month of Raws after Mania, the Empress of Tomorrow finally became the Empress of Today again, making her return after 9 months, immediately starting a feud with Lynch. It's both great to see her back and awesome that she's getting such a high-profile storyline right away. The Street Profits still want that smoke, saying they want a tag title shot post-WrestleMania. Backlash. and Damian Priest utterly dominated local enhancement talent Finn Balor, decisively beating him in a 5-minute match. This is actually the best Priest has looked on the main roster. Yes, it's also amongst the worst for Balor, but let's take the victories where we can. There were 2 interesting additions to Priest and Edge's act here. First, they've got a name that isn't the House of Purple, being referred to as Judgment Day on commentary. And secondly, Edge now enters the stage on a big moving throne like he's Goth Professor X. They also cut a promo on AJ Styles' arm, poetically linking it to Edge's own shoulder injury in 2020 and how Styles won't be able to hit his phenomenal forearm without it. Speaking of Finn's inescapable downward spiral, Miz TV's guest next was the guy who beat him for the US title last week, not Austin, Theory. Like most Miz TV segments these days, it became a mixture of people listing Miz's WWE accomplishments and what charts. The two had good heel chemistry together, which ramped up a notch when we got yet another returning star, Mustafa, legally bound by contract Ali. He got a big welcome back chant as both Miz and Theory joked about him trying to quit, and he then requested a US title open challenge. Theory very funnily texted Vince McMahon to book Ali versus Miz instead, which Ali won with a technical pin. Then more out of nowhere than a post-NXT TakeOver Corner copyright logo angle, Tommaso Ciampa railroaded Ali while he was celebrating on the ramp, where commentary dropped his first name too and just called him Ciampa. And the camera immediately cut away. At least he's doing something. Then we got Rhea Ripley effectively cutting a promo on WWE's lazy booking of her in random tag team after random tag team, as her explanation for turning on Liv Morgan. Morgan brawled with her, establishing 2 non-title women's feuds on Raw. In your face, AEW. And then it was time for the huge main event with a lineup of future WWE Hall of Famers: Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Matt Riddle, The Usos, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Ezekiel. Ezekiel, sadly, still gets very little crowd reaction as soon as the bell rings, suggesting this gimmick isn't over in the actual ring either. But every single other wrestler was absolute fire in a match completely designed around putting over the hometown star. Riddle was worked over for Orton's hot tag 20 years in the making, whereupon Randy played the hits, including dropping 3 of the opposing team on the announcer's table in sequence, and then RKOing everyone to win for an uncomplicated, very fun, hometown hero pop that also builds the pay-per-view match. What did you think of Monday Night Raw? Let me know in the comments. This was the first show in a long time that actually felt like it had star power. The way the main event was presented, with the interweaving feuds and characters, felt like a fun Raw match from a decade ago. Monday nights are getting good again, and this is the best episode of the year so far. This week's Raw is 72%. Speaking of percentages and stuff, it's now gotten to the point where we can no longer dismiss the Andy Datson comments as the work of bots. So we here at Wrestle Talk will now let you have your say with a referendum. After his one-off news episode 2 weeks ago, a poll has just gone live on our community tab asking you, the SWAF Nation, whether Andy Datson should be considered for an opportunity, for a chance, to host another video. Cast your votes now. May God have mercy on our souls. And also go watch the latest episode of our WWE 2K22 MyGM series.
What do I do? Tony doesn't want anyone else having a title match before her, but I need to give Becky a title match to give Charlotte a title match. And now I've already said to Shayna that she can't have time off, and I've told Tony that someone's gonna get a title match, but what do I do? What do I do?